Hello, friends. This reading is a chronological compilation of the book Country Living by Ellen White, compiled by Graham Wheeler in 2016. The foreword. The original edition of this article was published in 1946, copyright by the Ellen G. White Publications. It contained a compilation of quotations from the writings of Ellen G. White on country living principles. This edition takes the quotes appearing in this original publication and places them in the order that they were written, according to the dates quoted in the original edition. This returning to the chronological order was first done by D. Westbrook, entitled Country Living Revised, or CLR. This revised version highlights that the counsel given to God's people to leave the cities became more urgent over time. In this edition, the text is additionally formatted to be best suited for publication as a booklet. In addition, a few corrections and edits were also included. Quoting from the foreword of Country Living Revised, quote, "Another disturbing fact arises from this study. In 1855, Ellen G. White pointed to the assumption of power on the part of the U.S. to enforce Sunday worship as the signal for leaving the cities. A look at history reveals that indeed, in 1888, such an attempt was made. Later statements indicate that Ellen White recognized that this signal had come. The Protestant world have set up an idol Sabbath in the place where God's Sabbath should be, and they are trending in the footsteps of the papacy. For this reason, I see the necessity of the people of God moving out of the cities into retired country places, where they may cultivate the land and raise their own produce." Letter 90, 1897. Mrs. White compared the push for Sunday legislation with the siege of Jerusalem by the Roman armies. That was the signal to the Christians inside the city to flee. However, they could not flee until the armies retreated. When the armies later returned, it was then too late to leave Jerusalem. The national Sunday law issued subsided, and God's people have had more than a century to act on his counsel. With Pope Francis being 1, the most active pope in history, 2, issuing the papal encyclical on climate change Laudato Si, May 24, 2015, 3, commencing the collaboration with unions similar to just before the Blair Bill, and 4, with the historical addresses in the fall of 2015, we clearly hear the rumblings of the returning Roman armies. Interestingly, the Vatican flag at the United Nations offices in New York was raised just prior to the Pope speaking in Congress. In his address to the UN in New York, he greeted, quote, "In my own name." John 5:43. Surely a Sunday law, as called for in Laudato Si, will surely be the issue pushed forward. Is this perhaps our last call to act? Just as with CLR, this edition intends to find no fault with the original publishers, nor with the publisher of CLR, but merely to provide a format more suitable for booklet printing and provide the quotes in the order written to highlight the increasing urgency of the message. The order of the quotes is largely based on the dates appearing in the original publication of Country Living. However, an effort has been made to include original references and to sort based on the earliest date of publication, and thus the order is slightly different than in Country Living Revised, i.e. Letter 26. In addition, a few quotes and historical notes 1886, 1888, 1990, etc., have been added, which did not appear in the original Country Living text. Reference notes. Each quote includes a reference which shows the original location of the quote as found in Country Living. Text presented in italics font were not a part of the original text. Paragraphs added by the editor are followed by ed. The second edition. The first edition of this document was created August 11, 2015. This edition corrects minor typographical errors and includes a few items missed in the table of contents. Just for note, the topics will be based on the year and not on numbers as we are accustomed.